They'll probably never get rid of this stuff because it's a memory. It's a good memory. But yeah, we are going to discuss Jason's character integrity, towards the game. Like you all know how Jason kind of made you feel in the movies, but in the game he kind of flows towards that direction, but he doesn't nail it quite successfully. But it's because of a lot of things that are in the game that kind of detract from Jason maintaining his character integrity. There's a lot of little things, such as, the emotes, Jason getting beat on and stunned really easy and stuff like that. But I wanted to know more about what you guys thought about all that. Let's see. There was a big talk in the Discord. What is it that you guys think that detract from the mood and the atmosphere Jason is supposed to be creating in the game? What are the things in the game that are making him feel silly and unbelievable from the way that he made you feel when you were sitting down watching the movie? Like, the things that detract from those feelings and that experience should be eliminated from the game, don't you think? Because it detracts from the way that he's making us feel in the movies. The movies, the way they made us feel, those same feelings, from through the series, that's the way we should feel when we're playing the game, correct? I'm kind of like looking through the chat now. I'm going to catch up on what you guys are replying to. I'm not here to talk about anything except the game, you guys. So if you're asking off-topic questions, I'm just going to pass right over it. There was a Never Hike Alone update. What was the update, Linger? The mini-map. Oh, and that's another thing, Okay, so here's things that I have noticed personally while playing the game. Here are things that I noticed personally that make the game just kind of detract away from that Jason, the Jason Voorhees experience that we all want in the game. Is Jason? It's something. There's little tiny things, but they all add up. One of them is Jason appearing on the mini-map. Here, let me find a good place to just kind of. This is what we usually do. We just find a good place to sit and talk. All right, we'll just stand here. So yeah, Jason appearing here. Let me close this right here. Okay, Jason appearing on the mini-map. This is a small thing, right? But it's very important. If you're walking around and I'm heading towards a cabin at the beginning of the match, and all of a sudden Jason appears on my mini-map and I see kind of the direction he's heading, that right there is just the thing that kind of detracts from Jason being Jason Voorhees, right? Because he's on the mini-map. I see where he is. I shouldn't be able to. And, and when it comes to the emotes, like, the thing is the emotes are in there. All the dancing emotes are in there. I doubt they're going to take them away. But, it's things like, okay, Jason, a Chad in a Speedo running up to Jason and smacking him with a bat and then doing the hobo dance, the fucking jangle dance in front of him, holding his arm out and fucking jangling his janglies all over his face. Those are the little things that add up, that detract away from the experience, It's like all these little things, it makes Jason it ruins his character integrity. Now, if you guys don't understand what character integrity is basically the values and the feeling, the way a character is portrayed, So we all know that how Jason Voorhees is portrayed in the movies, correct? We all know how he made us feel. So when he comes to the game and you're beating him over the head and dancing, fucking teabagging him and all this other shit, that takes away from what he grew to mean to you and what you valued from him in the movies, right? It's all destroyed now because of that kind of stuff. Why isn't it being fixed after a year? Like, if I would, okay, say I'm a director, right? say I'm Wes Keltner, whoever's directing the game, like, okay, if I, I wanted the emotes at first, right? Everybody did. I thought it was going to be a good idea. But when you put that stuff in the game and you see that it's hurting, I didn't expect this. The stuff that's going on with the emotes. I see it change. It's hurting Jason's character integrity. What are you going to do? You're going to take that shit out. But they left it in. I mean, you kind of have to leave it in. I guess you don't want to piss people off. But especially if they paid for those. But it's like, I mean, it should have been at least tested first, right? There's a lot of things I see that aren't tested in the game properly before they go in, before somebody gives the green light and then they just throw it in there. And then it becomes something that really hurts Jason's character integrity. You got to do something about that. So let's say they leave the emotes in the game, right? So at least do something to balance it out. If somebody emotes in a proximity, the creator create an invisible circle around Jason. If you happen to emote one of the dance emotes, it has to be the pointing and the come here emotes, the helpful ones that actually mean something. Those you should be able to use whenever you want. But if it's something like, we were talking about this in the Discord. I'm not the only one that came up with these ideas, but yeah, if Jason's being teabagged or somebody's dancing near him in his proximity, you should maybe go through some kind of stamina decrease, or Jason's rage goes up super fast, so other players now have an incentive to look at that other player that's teasing Jason and be like, hey, stop that, you're gonna get us killed. And then it plays into the story more, right? It plays into that multiplayer atmosphere and makes Jason this more dangerous presence, which he's supposed to have in the first place, right? Kind of catching up on the chat a little bit here. You guys give me a moment. Is the chase music. And the chase music, yes, that's another thing. The chase music, while it is great, Harry Manfredini did an amazing job on it. It's fantastic. But the chase music, again, is another Band-Aid, kind of like the radar, him popping up on the radar. It's too much. Where Jason's at now. It kind of... What it does when you hear Jason on the chase music is it's like taking a fire extinguisher out and just spraying all over the suspense. The fire that could be the suspense that built up. Here, let me give you an example, a really good example. I turn Jason's music off all the time when I play the game. I turn the chase music off. And I get more experiences out of it. For example, one time I went into, we were playing on, it was either Packanack. It was one of the main houses. Well, I had jumped in one of the main houses. And I didn't know I thought it was safe. There was no counselors around. It was quiet. I go into the house, so I'm walking around the house. All of a sudden, while I'm in the middle of the house, I hear Jason's footsteps. I hear his footsteps out of nowhere. I'm like, oh God. And I stop because I don't know where he's at. All I hear is his heavy ass footsteps. So I'm like, oh God, is he up? Because I'm in the middle of the house. I don't know where to go. Do I go to the front, to the back, upstairs? I don't know if he's plodding around upstairs. It creates this suspense. I don't know where to go. I might turn in the wrong direction or go the wrong way, and I run right smack into him. So, there's those little moments that are destroyed because of that chase music is there, And this was at the beginning of the round. You're at the beginning of the round, there's the house I go in. You figure it's going to be safe. No, he was already running around in there somewhere. So it's just those little things. Counselors or supplies trying to escape. Jason, I'm catching up again on the chat. I know you are trying to... Yeah, I like the chase music. It just needs to be utilized a little bit better. Tack it onto their damage. Tack it onto the state of the counselor. So it's not Jason giving you the alarm, but the music is dynamically changing, maybe based on whether you're wounded, whether you're scared. That would be really suspenseful, right? Your fear's going up, but you don't know why, right? It could be because you're running around in the dark. It doesn't necessarily have to be because Jason's close by, right? It could be you're running around in the dark too long. You're not around other counselors. Your fear's going up. So to reflect that, maybe the music starts getting creepy or something anything that kind of takes away that Jason alarm, But how about creating a realistic game mode where they introduce these changes in the game? This way, if the games want to play more realistic Jason, they can play this mode. That could be nice if there was that mode in the game. See, the thing is I think there's so much going on in the game's recipe that it's not focused, right? It's like a brand. Here's the way I think of what the game is right now. Think of it like a business brand. It feels like it's all over the place. Kind of like my streaming habits sometimes. You know, I don't focus on horror all the time. I play other games here and there, whatever. But I think if they focused more on if they had their sights set on a way they want this game to be, which should be like the movies, which is suspenseful and horrifying in some way, but it's all over the place, right? It's like they're trying to make too many people happy. They're trying to make these people happy, trying to make those people over there happy, trying to make these people over here happy, and the game is just all over the place, right? You got silly emotes, then you got Jason trying to be Jason, but I think it's hard for Jason to be Jason when you have all of these other recipes that don't necessarily fit into the game correctly. It's like a puzzle piece that doesn't fit correctly into the game, and it kind of just jars that whole thing up. It skews what the developers are trying to do with Jason in the game, because the game is about Jason, you guys. Friday the 13th. Most of it, people, when you say Friday the 13th, they think about Jason. This is his game, right? So I think the devs really need to kind of hone in on what Jason means to people, what Friday the 13th, the name and the Jason brand, the Jason Voorhees, the brand means to people, what that makes them feel from the movies, and concentrate on making the game feel that way for players, right? And eliminating all the silly shit. That's what I believe. Counselors should have good stand chance. Yeah, the stunning chances need to go down. There's a lot of weapons around. Okay, so the game should feel like a survival horror, right? They talked about how they lessened the weapons in the match, but I believe that there's still too many weapons laying around. You know, it should feel rewarding when you find a weapon, right? Like, oh my God, there's a weapon. This might actually, this could come in handy. But instead, it's like, oh, you go in the first cabin. Oh, there's a machete. I'll just pick that up. Go into the next cabin. Oh, there's a bat. Oh, that's better than machete. Let me go pick that up. And then you just continue on, and you're not really worried about not having a weapon because you know you can find one, and it's not really that big of a deal, right? So it's because there's too many weapons. There's a lot of things that could have more impact in the game and more meaning if it's a little bit more rare to find, Everybody knows where the shotgun's gonna be when they spawn in the Pack-a-Knack. Just go inside, it's sitting on the couch. They know exactly where to go to get that fucking gun. They gotta make it so it's rare, like, hey, put the gun somewhere where people may not find it all the time. Make the gun, because the gun is like a big thing. You knocks Jason right out, You gotta change it up so people can't predict all this stuff. Make each round as unpredictable as you can, right? Just being alone. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to have the fucking pause thing up there. But yeah. Alright, let me scroll down a little bit. I'm catching up on it, you guys. Let's see. Yeah, Roy was a tad of a touch in the right direction, but there's just so much more that still needs to be done, I think. Here's something I want to bring up. Jason using rage going through doors is pointless because experienced players know as Jason, as he comes through the door, you can just whack him. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, it's a free stunt. That's another point. Brogan, that's a good point. Jason whacking through a door. Everybody understands Jason's animations, right? Everybody's used to Jason's animations. So they know that they can hit him through a door. They know that when he's done hitting through a door that he's locked into an animation and you can just take your free stun out on him. Speaking of Jason's rage, it doesn't happen quick enough. Like, you can hit Jason a lot before he's even close to getting into rage. Like, if you hit Jason, that should be a really big impact towards his rage, right? Like, he's gonna get mad. If you emote in him, that shit's gonna fill up, like, really nice for him. So the more you fuck with Jason, here's the way it should be, right? The more a player makes those dumb decisions, those consequential decisions to fuck around with Jason, that's gonna hurt the match for everybody. Take a swing at Jason, his rage is gonna go up really fucking like a nice chunk. Right now you hit him and it barely does anything to his rage. But I'm talking about when you smack Jason with anything, bat, machete, that should fucking take his rage up like a lot. You hit him 3 times, he's almost at full rage. Maybe less than that. If you emote near him, he's gonna get pissed off. That's gonna just juice his rage up even more. And even when he's in rage right now, he's still pretty weak. Like his rage, when it's full, that's it. He's fucking dangerous. You're not going, like people are gonna have a hard time. So that would encourage people to stay away from him more. You know, that encourages people. Let me turn the music back on. There we go. Yeah, that encourages people to kind of keep their distance from him. It makes him more of this dangerous entity on the map rather than this thing that people are okay with. People are just totally comfortable around Jason right now. Yeah, and as soon as if Jason's enraged, he shouldn't be able to be stunned anymore. That's it. You can't stun him. Right, exactly, Linger. I totally agree with that. Like, he should be this immense threat. Let's see. I'm scrolling down again. Somebody was talking about, who was it? Was it Pierce? Was it you, Brogan? Somebody was talking about, another thing is when Jason grabs you, it's kind of awkward, right? The counselor is now relying on, here's the thing that's kind of wonky, and when Jason grabs somebody, the counselor's hope and dream is that Jason's kill prompts aren't going to come up. That's kind of wonky if you think about it, though. You know, the counselor's only hope of escaping, for the most part, is his kill prompts don't come up because he's standing on an unlevel piece of ground or he's in an enclosed area or just doesn't work out for Jason, right? Just kind of wonky, right? Just this weird, clunky mechanic. What if it was a rock, a rock, paper, scissors kind of mechanic? Who was it that was saying that? Was it Brogan? I don't remember. I have to scroll down. I'm trying to. It's going to take me a while to get through the chat, you guys, because I know you're typing. I'm going through one person's thing as I read it. If I read something good, I'm gonna extend it and talk about it. But yeah, the rock paper scissors thing. You know, like you said that whoever told me that was saying that they do that on UFC game. So when you get into a grapple in the game, you don't tap out. You're not mashing a button to get out, right? Immediately, the players, I guess, presented with a rock paper scissors thing where they got to press like a random group of prompts that come up on the screen, like left, right, up, down, and if they don't get it, if they don't nail it, like as it's popping up, then they lose the rock paper scissors thing. It would have to be really quick because otherwise, just Jason's just standing there. I don't know if he would be vulnerable during this moment. Maybe not. When you grab somebody, it's a really quick thing. It's like up, down, left. You got to hit it really quick. If you fail it, then Jason's free to kind of just do his thing to you. Walk around, put you on an environmental. Maybe not forever. He has like a few seconds to do whatever he's going to do with you, right? But it's still a substantial amount of time to where he can at least, maybe, depending on how wounded you are, get somewhere. And you'll automatically come out of it after a while, depending on how wounded. I don't know. Like, all that stuff would have to work together. But yeah, the wonky thing of tapping out and hoping that Jason's prompts don't appear it's kind of weird to me, I guess. You grabbed a counselor through the window. That's very rare thing to happen. I'm kind of going through again. Let's see. Look at these pumpkins, you guys. All right. It makes throwing knives absolutely useless. Let Jason be able to climb. Get rid of the medic perk. Makes the throwing knives useless. Usually the I don't know how many it takes with the medic perk on, but usually it's 2 knives to put them in a wounded state. Yeah, that's another thing, Brogan, is the car parts do appear kind of close. Like, it's pretty easy for people to get the car parts and put that car together pretty lickety-split and get the hell out of there. And Jason barely has his powers going yet, so he can't catch them. That sucks when that happens. Let's see. That might be a good fix for Decision Strike on DBD. Decisive Strike. It's like a skill check right now. Jason should grab 2 people at the same time. No, can't grab 2 people at the same time. The only way he wouldn't be able to grab 2 people at the same time. He's holding a weapon in one hand. There's no way to do that. Is it canon for Jason to be accurate with throwing weapons? Why do you find it weird for Jason to be using throwing knives? He's done it many times. He's thrown many things in many films. That's not... Quipper, you might want to go watch the films first. If the car or boat gets fixed, his rage can grow a lot or let him instantly get rage. I don't think rage should be based on whether people are completing stuff. I think rage should be based on whether people decide to fuck with Jason. That's where his rage should come in. Like, because in the movies, Jason gets pissed off. Think of part 7, you know. When Jason gets beat on, he gets really pissed. Do you guys remember the faces Caden Hodder made at the end of the film when his mask came off and he was getting the shit beat out of him? He was not a happy camper. No pun intended. But yeah, the rage should be based on like whether you're using emotes close to him or beating the shit out of him too much. Beating the shit out of him should be like one of those things. It should be pushing the counselor to go in their head. Maybe I shouldn't hit him. Because if you hit him too many times, he's gonna be raged out pretty early in the match, and then that's gonna spell trouble for the rest of the counselors, right? That would make him even more. That would make incentive for players to stay away from Jason and treat him like a threat, rather than them running up and giving him a bop whenever they want, you know. Jason should power up like a Super Saiyan. But yeah, it's those little things that kind of eat up Jason's character integrity and make him... It doesn't give you the same feeling. There's moments where he does nail it and he feels like the Jason from the movies. But then the thing is all those little things that happen that we're speaking about right now, when they happen, you lose that. Like all of that was like, I could be running from him. It feels like a movie. Oh, this chase is actually really good. I'm kind of scared right now. You know, but then you can do shit things will happen, those little things that break up that feeling. And then it's like, oh, well, you know, I did that. You know, like if and when you're a counselor, you're enjoying it. I mean, you can't really, because you're wanting to win, right? You want to escape. So when you're Tommy Jarvis or another Bugsy or whatever, and you have a bat, even Deborah, you know, you got a bat, Jason's coming for you, you hide around the corner, wait for him to come up, take that bat, okay, he's down, I did it. You know, that's good. But what can the developers do to only let that happen so much? Which is to pump his rage up. After that third or fourth hit, hitting Jason with something should be a last-ditch effort to keep him away from you, to keep, you know, and everybody should know that, right? And once the game is changed in that direction, people will know that. They're going to figure it out really quick. That Jason's more of a threat, and after about 3 or 4 hits with something, he's going to be really close to rage. That's going to be it. Even less hits once the round has carried on more. So say like half the match is expired. Jason hasn't been hit yet. He's still doing his thing around the map. Okay, so say somebody wants to go up and hit him and it's already been half the match. Well, 1 or 2 hits are going to throw him into rage because his rage is already building up slowly as the round progresses, That makes him more of a threat. That drives incentive to go hit him with shit less. Unless you're going to kill him, unless you want to get his mask off and go kill him and all that shit. That's what you're going for. But even then, with all these other things that we're talking about in place, his less stun and less in rage going up quicker, he's going to be a hard cookie to kill. You know what I'm saying? That difficulty rises now. He shouldn't be an easy thing to just take out. You guys have watched Slash and Cast just beat the shit out of Jason and kill him hundreds of times within a week. Within less of a week, when they adjusted all the stuff right and they took the pocket knives down and they took the weapons down, I was watching Slash and Cast, you guys, and in less than a week, they had already killed Jason hundreds of times. How is that not viewed as a problem? How is that not looked at as a problem? I don't know. That's these are things that should not be you shouldn't be waiting 1 year to fix, I mean, I don't know. That's what I think. So hopefully, with the new update, they kind of, they digest all this stuff and kind of go towards making Jason and not baby pansy Jason, you know what I'm saying? I know, see, even she agrees. So the sleeping bag kill is in the game, you guys. You have to get somebody when they're in a tent. I know it's rare. Not a lot of people get in the tents or anything like that, so it's a very rare kill to witness nowadays. People know not to get in the tents and shit. Hiding places are very rarely used. That's another thing. How can they drive the game in such a way that people want to use hiding places more? Whereas when we played Hide or Die, hiding places are actually very convenient. You need to get in a hiding place to get away from the killer. Because in Hide or Die, the killer can't see you at all. There's no sensibility. You have to use your own eyes and ears to find people. So you don't have time to really, because other people are getting through the match, you don't have time to sit somewhere for a million years and look check every hiding place that's around, because the other people are gonna get shit done and you're gonna fuck up. So I don't know. We talked about the sensibility before. We've talked about the sensibility a lot. The sensibility when you're outside is a little bit too Terminator, right? People show up perfectly in red and you can see exactly where they're at. That eliminates the whole search and destroy kind of thing. Now it's just you see them, destroy. But say if somebody was hiding outside of this cabin right now, behind this tree, wouldn't it be cool if Jason, say if I'm Jason right now, I'm inside this cabin and I fire up his sense, wouldn't it be really awesome if you saw a cloud of mist, a very fine, it doesn't ruin, just very fine, very thin cloud of mist. Think of The Witcher, I guess, if you want to call it that. But what if it extends? Depending on what kind of perks, maybe there could be perks for this or whatever. What character you're playing depends on the size of your search radius, but whatever. Think of it okay, so AJ's or whoever's hiding behind that tree outside that window, and I'm inside the cabin, or I could be outside, whatever. But her thing, okay, it extends from here. It's like a cloud. It goes from here to outside. It's like this little random orb around her it's like smoke, so it doesn't really it doesn't take a shape or anything like that. It's just like a fog in the air. And it goes all the way around out there and maybe kind of in here, over here. So that way I can't directly, I know that she's in the area, but I don't know where to look. I don't know if she's in the cabin. That's gonna, that will drive it to where it drives the player to, hold on, let me start the music over again. I need to make this track longer. it drives, having just a mist drives the Jasons to be more smart. It makes you use your sixth sense a little bit more, right? It makes you go, where would I hide? Where, if it makes Jason, because in the movies, you guys, he's kind of acting like that, right? It's almost like Jason is always one step ahead of the counselors, right? And that teaches you to think like that. Like by not knowing exactly where they're at. It's like, okay, I see this mist. Where would I hide? Let me check all the best hiding places. If I was a counselor, where would I go? Because that's kind of the, you think that Jason would think like that. Because he's always, it seems like he's always one step ahead of the counselors. You know, he's always getting the drop on them first, you know, kind of thing. And so that would divide it up and make it more challenging as the Jason player to go look for people. It would be more entertaining. You know, you're like, and then the person outside, maybe their stamina's shot. They ain't got nowhere to go. They got to sit there for a little bit. So they got to sit there and rest up. So they're in their hiding spot. Jason's looking around for them. They're going to be shitting their pants because they can hear him walking around, but they don't know if they're going to be found or not. That's what would scare people. That's what would drive the suspense up out of the, like, that would make you be on the edge of your seat. Is he coming out here to find me? Is he going to find me? You're going to hear him open the door or crash through the door or whatever. Do you get out of your hiding spot? If you hear him walking over to your direction, who knows? You could still sit behind this tree and be safe. He might not look in your direction. But some people are going to get so scared because he's walking over here, right? And you know how dangerous he is. You can't stun him as easy. You can't do the dumb shit that we do to him now in the game. That makes it more suspenseful because now he's going to come up. Is he going to see me or not? Should I get up and run or not? You have to flow through all those decisions in your mind while he's walking over to this area. You know, that's the kind of shit that I think needs to go into the game and make it a little bit more suspenseful. It would drive up the experience like you wouldn't believe. May the 4th be with you. Oh, yeah. Happy 4th, you guys. Happy May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Star Wars weekends, you guys. Star Wars weekends. It's easy to stay a step ahead of someone who has no idea what's going on. The players already know Jason is there. Well, I know the players already know Jason is there, but you don't know what he's gonna do, Bombay Cat. If your stamina, right now your stamina kind of goes up really fast, but what if you were running around and you deplete stamina? What if it comes back? You know, to balance the whole thing of having a mist instead of a perfect Terminator 2 target on the counselor, in order to balance that out so the match isn't going as fast, maybe, you would have to make it to where the counselor's stamina is, you know, doesn't go up as quick. So now they're required to kind of hide in certain spots. If they do, you know, if they run too hard, like, there's all kinds of balances that would have to go into it, obviously. You can't just change Jason, give him a mist effect, and then that's it, call it a day. You would have to go into the counselor side and also change some stuff up a little bit, and then call it a day. Once the mist effect, the sense mist effect would work, you know, with the counselor's ability to get away, how fast, how long can they run, all that kind of shit. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of work. But it would be better for the experience, like, I think. Because when you're outside, you guys, like, okay, I hit sense, AJ fires up over there near the graveyard. I'm like, okay, I'll just go over here. There she is. You know, it's like, it ruins that in-between. There's no in-between, right? There's no search and the suspense of finding. When you're the counselor, you know, you gotta hide somewhere. You're moving. Maybe if you move around and Jason's really close, he's gonna, that mist grows smaller, you know, like, you never know. Like, things can, when you move around, maybe when you're sitting still, you're a little bit more safe, right? There's another thing that balance I'm talking about. Maybe when you're sitting still, that little fog or that what would you call it? I'm trying to think of a word of it, but the fog sense or whatever, the smoke surrounding you grows wider. Jason has a hard time finding you when you're sitting still. And then when you move around, it grows smaller. The more you move around, if you start running, it grows even smaller. So then Jason sense, it would be like this dynamic thing, right? So when you're starting to move around or run, if Jason has his sense still activated, boosh, that fucking shit's gonna grow really small and he's gonna see better where you're at. But if you're sitting still, it's like you're hidden in that range kind of, it blows out into a bigger bubble and Jason has a hard time. Kind of like zeroing in on you, so to say. But yeah. Grand Phoenix, what is up? But yeah, what do you guys think? What is some? I'm gonna scroll up the chat in a second here and see if I missed anything. What do you guys think are some other things that kind of detract from Jason's character attack? What? Yeah, an aura, like a little smoke aura. Exactly, White Chamber. What do you guys think? Some other things that kind of what do you see? What have you experienced in the game that kind of detracts from Jason's character integrity? And again, those of you that don't know what character integrity mean, it's basically the values and the feelings that we got as we, as most of you grew up watching the old Friday the 13th. How did Jason make you feel while you were watching these movies? What was the kind of experience you got that made you a fan of what he was, right? That's the kind of feeling and character values that should be transferred into the game and executed in a nice way, right? That actually feels like it's, hey, this is Jason Voorhees in the game, and it works. He should always blow through doors. Well, he shouldn't always just be able to blow through doors, you guys. That's a little bit too much. Like, then you're never gonna get that. And here's another thing, and this is harder for them to do because Jason carries multiple weapons. I completely understand why the door, if you guys remember when they first announced Friday the 13th, they showed off a tech demo of their game where Jason was busting through a door, he came up and started busting through a door, right? His axe was actually dynamically going through the door, and you could see it. You could see the door shutter. The axe was coming through, splinters of wood coming off. You don't get it now in the game because I understand why. The reason why we don't get that is because Jason carries multiple weapons. They'd have to design so many different doors that would work for different weapons, and Jason would come through the door differently. That's a lot of work, right? To make a door that will dynamically break. Right now, what it is, for those of you that don't understand what dynamically break is, I'll show you. I'll pull up the clip if I can find it. You'd have to do that for every weapon, and that would be some hardcore work. They could do it, but it would be a lot of work for a lot of doors. Let's see, where's the when they first announced the game and they showed it. Oh, here we go. All right, so this is what it looks like, a dynamically breaking door. So that you can actually see the door animate and go through the door. The splinters going out and all that, and it looks really cool, right? It's like a really nice Jack Nicholson moment. If you're on the other side of the door and there's an axe coming through the door and you're standing next to the door, you could get hurt and all that good stuff, right? Right now, the doors, because there's so many weapons that Jason uses, they can only afford to do like a little splash door, right? The door goes through different assets. So there's a fixed door, and then there's damaged door, and then there's mostly damaged door, and then there's door explodes. But you'd have to create all kinds of different doors for each weapon depending on the weapon that Jason uses on the door. That's some tough work, but I completely understand that. But it would be cool if there was dynamically breaking doors like that. It would tremendously enhance the experience of watching Jason come in the house and try to get after your ass. But yeah. I think Jason should be able to multi-trap again, or at least part 2 since his strength. Well, I mean, you can still multi-trap stuff. You just gotta learn how to... I agree with the fact that you shouldn't be able to set traps on top of one each other, because that's lame. But yeah, you can still set traps kind of on top of each other, beside each other, and it still works. So you can still set traps on top of one another to where they're gonna have if you set like 3 traps near the phone, they're gonna have a hard time getting the phone. I usually just set 1 because all I ever need is 1, but... Oh, the pizza boy idea. Yeah, that we talked about having... Okay, so you know how Tommy Jarvis comes in as a hero, you guys, right? What if there were several heroes? Like somebody could call in Tommy... If you get picked, you're the player that died early and you get picked to come back in, maybe you could have Tommy Jarvis as the free hero, right? He's the free hero. He's the hero. If you don't have any CP points, he's the hero you can call in for free. No CP points needed. What if there's other CP points, though? Like, maybe like you can call just a random... You know, it's like in the movies, the people that kind of come into the scene from the outside, they're not involved, really. They're like the cop or the deputy shows up, or maybe you can call the pizza... We talked about a pizza delivery guy, like the pizza delivery kid. Maybe they had ordered pizza before Jason showed up, right? So the pizza delivery guy shows up, and it acts as an extra method of escape on the map, right? Usually there's like 1 or 2 cars or a boat and a car. Well, what if one person uses Tommy, instead of Tommy coming in, somebody spends like, what, 500, 600 CP points to bring the pizza delivery kid in. So when the pizza delivery kid gets in there on his moped, he can only drive the moped. He's the only one that can drive the moped. So the counselor has to, or any counselor can follow this pizza delivery kid to the moped. You got to kind of protect his ass so you can get on it and get out. Like, it's a 1-person escape. Plus the pizza delivery kid. Pizza delivery kid hops on, other counselor hops on the back of the moped, and you got to get out, right? It's just an extra kind of thing to come in as a hero and do something to save the day instead of Tommy Jarvis all the time. You know, mix it up a little bit. It's easy to stay a step ahead. See. Oh yeah, some of you have never seen this virtual cabin. So what this is, you guys, this virtual cabin is basically like a museum that they came up with before the game came out to let Kickstarters see the work that they were doing on the game and what they're putting in. So it's like all this, you know, that's what the counselors are sitting in here for. This room used to be empty, where it only had like 1 or 2 counselors in it, just a few, and then they kept adding more and more until they were all shown off.
Jason's killing my friends. Please get out here. No, this is not a prank.
It started.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Help.
But yeah. Let's see. Just scrolling down the chat. Personally, I'd love to see more of the counselor perks nerfed. I'm sick of the anti-Jason tanks that some of these people have made and the groups of Jason killers. And see, those are things that are going to have to be tested. Once they do something with Jason, they're going to have to go back on the counselor's side and make adjustments as well. And then they're just going to have to keep doing it until it feels nailed, right? Instead of kind of clunky and half-assed. I don't want to say half-assed because it's not half-assed. It's good, but it's just there's some things that are really off. Like the stuns and all that, and there are kind of too many weapons around on the map, all those kinds of things. The pocket knives are still, I don't know what happened, but people are still grabbing tons of pocket knives. When you're a counselor and you have 2 med sprays and a pocket knife and you see that there's a trap set at the car, do you tell yourself, man, thank God I have a pocket knife so I can take that trap? Hell no. You go and run and step on the trap and use one of your 4 med sprays. 4 med sprays? Oh, with the med spray perk. Okay, I see. And then you keep the knife until Jason gets there. Yeah, exactly. Plus, when you hit a counselor with 2 knives, they use a spray and get away. Yeah, that's so annoying. You guys, I've talked about that when I'm playing the game. That's like a big middle finger to Jason, right? Because there's so many med sprays, right? Yeah, the med spray perk is a little bit OP. I totally agree with you there, Air Car, on that one. That is a little bit OP. Because you guys, I mean, you're fucking Jason, right? And you're sitting there throwing knives at them, you whack them, and then all of a sudden they're just like, they climb in a window and you hear that noise. It's like a huge fucking middle finger to Jason, right? It's like, dude. And they've done it once, and then they do it again, and you're like, what the fuck? This doesn't feel like Friday the 13th. These are the little things I'm telling you guys about, these little moments that all stack up to pull away from Jason's, his much acclaimed character integrity that he's built through the movies. The game just kind of, with all these little problems, add up to kind of tear up his character integrity a little bit. It makes all these little things make Jason not feel like Jason anymore. That he's less of a badass than he was in the movies, right? First person makes locations different, like bigger looking. That would be cool to play it in first person. I want medic perk gone, for example, when I'm Jason in Tracy's lobby and they get out all my traps at the very start. Right, Eddie? Oh, because he uses the med spray perk and just takes away all your traps. Yeah. Well, the maps are going to be getting darker, Caleb, with the new, I don't know how dark, because I'd have to play it myself, and looking at it on a YouTube video as opposed to actually playing it yourself is like 2 different things. So once they get done with the engine and we can update it and take a look at it, I'll default the gamma the way it was before, and then I'll be able to see kind of what it looks like. But yeah, I get what you're talking about, though. I feel they made Jason into a teleporting dummy. Well, I mean, he has to teleport around the map, you guys, or he's never going to be... That's something that you have to have in the game, right? He has to be able to teleport around the map to get to where he's, it's... Unless he can speed around like in Hide or Die, and you can race across the map and eventually catch up with people. It's just... Because Jason walks, and he can't run that... He doesn't run that fast either. He kind of has to have that. Now, shifting... The shift grab, I feel like if they made these adjustments that we're talking about, all the smaller things, that the shift grab would be less of a big deal. Because it is really hard. I mean, all they gotta do is, when Jason's shifting, all they gotta do is make the camera wobbly. Because the shift, here it is, you guys. The shift, what is it for? The shift is not supposed to be used to kill a counselor. The shift is supposed to be used to quickly maneuver. It's supposed to create, the shift's purpose is so Jason can create these moments where, oh, he's behind me. Uh-oh, now he's in the house with me. Right when you got into a house, right? That's what the shift is supposed to do. That's the whole purpose of the shift. And I feel like a lot of people that are coming into this game that don't know, they've never seen the Paramount Friday the 13th. They've never seen Part 7 or Part 8. They don't understand that whole thing of how is Jason ending up over here, but now he's all of a sudden over here. Like, that's the only thing that's it's supposed to be for. It's not meant to be used to shift grab somebody, It's supposed to create those magical moments where Jason is all of a sudden, whoa, he's over there, now he's over here, and he's after me. It's supposed to be suspenseful and scary, right? So I feel that a way to fix that is to just make the camera, I mean, you can still get around and whatever. Make the camera inaccurate in some way. Make it a little bit more inaccurate than it is. Now, when they first released the beta, his shift was really it was really loose. I liked that. When they first came out with the beta, it was hard to shift grab people, because when you turned and shit, like when you did the turn, it was really loose in a way to where you could still get to where you're going, That's the thing, is people will probably adjust to it though. You can't ever change the shift movement, and then yeah, they're gonna have to do something with it to make it where it's just extremely hard to grab somebody coming out of the shift, because it's not supposed to be used in that way. But people use it that way. I use it that way because that's what's available in the game. That's what's in the game right now. You know. I feel like if they made Jason more dangerous, because most of us do shift grab. A lot of people shift grab, you know, it's just what it is. We hunt people in various ways, but the shift grab is a really effective way to kill somebody. Now, if they made these adjustments with the stuns and the less weapons and less pocket knives and Jason's rage going up really fast from being hit and emoting near him, he would become so dangerous to where people wouldn't have the desire to shift grab. You know, they would do other things. They would hunt their prey. You could have a chance to play with your prey but still be effective, you know, or hunt people down in different ways other than trying to shift grab them. To discourage, what can you do to discourage people from shift grabbing? You know, it's like, instead of, you know, and focus on playing as Jason from the movies more. Yeah, and that's the thing, Aircar, that's the thing, you nailed it. If you took away the shift grab in the game's current state, Jason would have a fucking hard time against experienced players. The game would be unplayable. So you have to kind of make all these little adjustments that we're talking about to balance off the counselors, to balance off Jason, and then you can kind of wonk up the shift grab a little bit and make it harder for people to do it. And then people would come up with new ways, more effective ways to hunt down prey and kill counselors, kill their prey. If people emote near Jason or teabag him, make his rage meter go faster. That's what we were talking about, Psycho Kenny. So, like, you know, and those of you who are just coming in here, so you might have missed the conversation, but yeah, exactly. If, say I'm Jason right now, right? There maybe could be an invisible, you can't see it, but there's an invisible circle around me, right? Maybe that extends out to where this tree is right here. If Jason's, well, maybe farther than that, because people will emote from, because then they'll just emote at you from far away. It would have to be a thing. Like, if you're...
Pay the fuck attention.
Shit!
It'd have to be a thing.
You gentlemen have been through a lot. And when you find the time, I'd rather not spend the rest of this winter tied to this fucking couch!
Somebody get Pierce off of the couch. Jeez. Pierce, thanks for the 2 months, my man. But yeah, what if it's a thing where the game, you know how the music, okay, you know how when you're chasing somebody, you hear that chase music kind of come up when you're Jason? Okay, so like if I see Tiffany or Veronica or Veronica running away from me, you know how when you start to give chase, the music changes and you hear the chase music. So the game knows how to detect when you're in chase mode. So what if they added that same detection in there to when you're giving chase to somebody and the game detects, hey, we're in chase mode now. When somebody decides to emote, when they're the ones being chased, when they decide to throw an emote out and it's not a useful emote like pointing or come here, any other emote that's a stupid fucking bullshit dancing emote, if they decide to use it, Jason's fucking rage is just gonna fucking gasoline up. As long as they use it, there it goes. His rage is building up really fast. You don't rage in front of Jason, right? Nick, what's going on? Thanks for the 500 bits. Oh, I forgot to turn on my damn... Let me turn all this shit back on, you guys. Give me a second. For those of you who've been dropping bits and I might have missed it, thanks so much for dropping those bitch bits. I need to turn my alerts back on. I forgot we're not playing cinematic games anymore, so it's all good. Turn the donations. The donations are also back on. All right, everything's back to normal, I think. But yeah, once the game is in that state, yeah, you're chasing Jason. This fucking Chad starts to hold his arm out and do his fucking testicle dance at you. Hit Jason's rage is gonna fill up. Oh, and then that gives incentive for somebody else in the match to see Chad doing that and go, "What the fuck are you doing, man? Stop that! Don't tease him!" Right? It makes it more suspenseful. Hey, this idiot is standing in front of Jason, taunting him. What do you think's gonna happen? He's not gonna sit there and take it. He's gonna get pissed. You know. The only emotes that are really necessary are the come here and the go away emote, or go over there emotes. Like any of the other emotes, fine. Use them when you're around other counselors, whatever. You're having a dance, whatever. And people like doing that. I understand it. I love doing it. You go into a cabin, Jason's not there yet. You go into the cabin with your friends and you're dancing, everybody's partying, it's a good time. It's not meant to troll. Those things are not meant to troll Jason, though. So the devs need to, otherwise it's going to continue and it's going to poison, it's going to continue to have a trolly atmosphere. They need to make it to where if Jason's giving chase to somebody and it detects it, the game can detect it. If they decide to go in and dance at him or whatever, yeah, he's going to get pissed off, he's going to win. Jason's going to have a really good chance at killing everybody if this kind of stuff kind of happens at the beginning of the match. Whatever. You know? Now, maybe some people, they know they're going to die. So they dance in them or whatever. Hey, you know you're going to die if you want to give Jason the middle finger before you die. That's completely acceptable. Like, hey, I cornered somebody. That's a big fuck you because you know that makes more sense, right, to the story? It's not a, hey, I just started the match. I'm going to flick Jason off and go run around and get the car done. And then I'm going to go flick him off and then hit him with the bat and then go get some more stuff done. It shouldn't be like that. But that's how the game is currently. But if you're chasing from somebody, I'm Jason, right? I know I'm going to get this kill. I back him into this room. He turns around and flicks me off. That's fine. You know, dude, he might try to escape after flicking me off, but he knows he's going to die. You know, that's the way it should be. Like, it shouldn't be you're flicking him off and trolling him and getting away with it type bullshit. Maybe you can. If you're ballsy and you want to do it, fine. But it's going to make Jason stronger. What does my stoned face look? It doesn't look good with the red eyes. It's pointing, nodding, those types are fine. Yeah, exactly. Once they moved to dancing and stuff, it got old. It did. It got old really quick. And that's the thing. These are the things that I wish the devs would kind of notice, you know, and pick up on. And be like, hey, these are, like, I thought they would. You know, here's the thing. The devs preach to us, you know, some of them might be in here right now. It's fine. I'm comfortable in saying it. But they preached about, they knew the movies. They understood the movies. They understood the way Jason should be, and we trusted them. Okay, but when and we didn't know, nobody knew the reactions of the players were going to be like this. So we were all like, hey, let's get pajamas and all this other, let's put the emotes in. It'll be great. It'll be fun. We can party and do the fucking, whatchamacallit dance. The Crispin Glover dance, and it'll be great. But then, you know, it went into the game, and immediately after a week, it only took a week. Most of us were like, oh God, this is not going to be good. So as a directive mind, you know, you'd be able to see that, oh, this is not working. It's hurting Jason's character integrity. We need to, don't take it out of the game, but do something about it. Right? You got to do something about it. You got to fix it. And that's what we're talking about right now. Make Jason pissed off enough to where his rage is going up if somebody emotes like that in his vicinity when they're being chased. Problem solved. But it's been over a year now, and none of these things are getting fixed. Jason's character integrity has, you know, all these new players see it, and they may have never seen the movies before, and they're getting the wrong idea of what Jason is, right? They don't know that Jason should be this scary, dangerous thing. Instead, he's this big and pinata to hit on, and it hurts, man. It's like, it's passionate people of this character are now like, whoa, This is what new people are coming in and seeing. That, you know, like, I don't know. Maybe they're going and watching the movies afterward. Who knows? Maybe they're not. But this is the idea of Jason to everybody now. That he's just this silly thing to beat on, and people accept it, and they're like, oh. And then when you promote, and then when you bring up change, everybody's like, no, I don't want to change it. I don't want to change that. No, I like it how it is. You don't know how to make games. You don't know what you're talking about. Stop asking for all these things to change. You just want to win as Jason. You don't know how to play count. You know, all these stupid arguments come up, and it's like, dude, I know what I'm talking about. I grew up with Jason. I know the way he made me feel when I was a kid. I'm trying to kind of tell the developers that and be like, hey, Jason is not making us feel the way we felt when we experienced him in the movies. They should be trying to shoot for that, in my opinion. Jason showing up in the mini-map is my biggest gripe. Yeah, we talked about that one earlier. A good emote would be they could point where Jason is to a new person. Well, there's already a point emote in the game. I make money, so you don't have to worry about that one. A good count.
Good. Bad. I'm the guy with the gun.
Yo, Southern Guy, thanks for the 15 months now. Holy shit. Southern Guy, thanks so much for all the support over this year and few months. I greatly appreciate it. But yeah. And that's another thing. Here's another thing I wanted to touch on. The Evil Dead. You just saw that clip. Here's the thing. The brand of Friday the 13th, right? It feels like the game has so many things trying to mix into it that it doesn't know what it is brand-wise in this game, right? So let's take it. Let me make an example. The Evil Dead, Sam Raimi. He has his own recipe of horror, right? He sprinkles a lot of dark humor into it. Where it's not really scary, it's more entertaining. Now, the first one was scary, but then as the movies went on, it got more dark humor and more humorous as it went on. I feel like the game is trying to pack in a lot of outside stuff that doesn't make sense to the Friday the 13th brand, right? They should be concentrating on getting Jason to feel more like it's all about Jason in this game, right? Jason is the main deal, but all this other stuff, the Jason being stunned, and then you can teabag him or dance over him and all this other stuff, and all this, the little things that add up that we constantly are annoyed with it's silly. It's comedic. Yeah, we laugh. There's these things that we laugh at, but in the end, when you sit down and think about it, is it really helping the recipe of this game? It's like some of the wrong recipes are being placed into the bowl, right? And it's kind of making the dish not taste so good. They need to take out the shit that's not working with the recipe of this game so it can taste better, so we can digest it better, and it's a great experience again. You have to tackle it to where players are getting the same kind of experience. Of course, it's a gameplay. It's a game. I understand. You have to take different creative freedoms in order to get shit to work properly. But in the end, it should, when you play Alien Isolation, it feels like an alien. It feels like Alien. You play Alien. Yeah, that was a fucking alien experience. That was amazing. I understand that it's great to put in some things here and there that the players ask for, but if you put it in, you gotta test this shit first. That's the thing, is they don't test this stuff. You put it in, test it with us. I don't care if it's not me, just test it with some kind of players out there. Outside players, don't do an in-house development test, because that's only a few minds, right? Somebody might tell you something that's wrong with something that you may not have thought about before, but the way that they've been testing shit, they test it, I guess, in-house, and then they just throw it out. Everybody plays it, and it's stuck like that. You can't do that. Because it might not work. And that's the thing, is they've been putting stuff in the game. Yeah, it's fun for a few days. I never have used the dance emotes. I'll be honest. I have never put a dance emote on my character. I've never used any of the emotes. People do use them though, and I understand that it's fun at times. But you have to think about it like, is this the right recipe for this game? Right? Is this the thing that's going into the game that will enhance the experience, or will it detract from the experience? That should be tested extensively first. So you could get all kinds of outside opinions, and then you can be like, oh, I didn't think about that. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't put that in. You know? But it seems like I know they probably discuss all this shit in-house, but the thing is, you're gonna need outside opinions for this kind of stuff. Let's see, let me go through the chat again. We're gonna wind it up in a little bit, you guys. I don't want these things. We haven't had a... Let me wait for this music to end. Let's see. Yeah, Jason was never a punchline. Damn it, Nick, that hit it right on the fucking head. That is the thing, you guys. Once something becomes silly, that's it. You've hurt the character. If you guys, a lot of you have went and watched the behind the scenes to Friday the 13th. What is one of the things that they talk about constantly? Even when you listen to Kane Hodder talk, they talk about this extensively through some of the movies. They said it. You can't make it funny. Like, you can't make him like in part 6, sure. See, here's what, if you guys go watch behind the scenes for part 6, the director talks about it a lot. Sure, there's a lot of funny things that happen in the movie. They don't take themselves seriously. There's a lot of levity in there, right? But one thing you should never do outside of all the outside levity surrounding Jason, you don't laugh at Jason, though. You don't make... That's the character integrity that I'm talking about. You don't make Jason the thing to laugh at. The counselor, sure, they can tell jokes and make stupid puns and quips, whatever. Silly deaths, whatever. But Jason himself should not be laughed at. He's not funny. He's not supposed to be funny. Once you laugh at Jason one time for something silly he does, that's it. You've ruined... That breaks his character, right? It's like breaking character. So that's like the thing that I think the devs kind of really need to wrap their fingers around and they need to kind of put that in their blue book and be like, we need to adjust the game to where people can't laugh at Jason like, you know, they do. That's, I feel, is important. Because once he's a laughing pinata, like something to laugh at, then you've killed him. You're killing him slowly. Like, that's what I'm trying to get across. I have a mic, so I never bothered with buying the emotes. Let's be real, an engine change isn't going to fix the myriad of issues. No, it's not, but at least opens the door for them to be able to fix the myriad of issues. Hopefully. At least that's what they're saying. Greed of what's going on. If anything, engine change equals new bugs. Yeah, that's the thing. There probably is going to be new bugs, but hopefully they tackle this shit a lot quicker. I hope so. You have a 1% chance of survival, not a 90% chance. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't have a match starting off where people are just getting together and making Jason kill squads. It's way too... And people have it down to a science. Yeah, they can just do it. Like Slash and Cast, again, they were fucking murdering Jason hundreds of times in a week. You guys ever seen Slash and Cast? Go watch some of their streams sometime. When they came out with that new update where they said they took away the pocket knives and some of the weapons and adjusted a few things about Jason, Slash and Cast went in and killed him hundreds of times in about a week, probably less than a week. Hundreds of times, you guys. In a week. Doesn't that scream out to you that something's wrong with the game? But yeah, is there anything else? We're gonna wrap it up here in a little bit because I'm gonna post this on YouTube. We're gonna start having these talks again. I miss these talks. Yo, Kieran Sue, thanks for the host, my man. Welcome in, you guys. We're about to wrap it up in a little bit, but welcome in anyway. I'm gonna be posting this on YouTube. We used to have these discussions. For those of you new to these discussions, we used to do this all the time. Before the beta came out, we would sit down and talk about what we wanted to see in the game. When the game came out, we started to discuss what we felt was wrong with the game. It kind of felt like, that we weren't being heard. I don't know if we are being heard, but sometimes I just feel like I really need to say some of this stuff. We're all trying to say it. I don't know if the devs are listening, but, at least we're trying. We're trying to relay the message. We want the game to be good. I want Jason to feel as much like the movies as he can. He's close. But again, it's all this shit that detracts from that, I believe. Slash and Cast almost hit the 1,000 mark with kills. Oh my god. The devs commended them on it instead of figuring out how to fix it. That's not good. See, that's the thing. It's like, I don't know, you guys. I don't know. Hopefully those adjustments come into play. I don't know if the devs care for the game anymore or not. I hope they do. Like, I would love to see this I would love all this. This can be fixed. Their game is not dead yet, you guys. Like, all of the stuff that we have seen can be fixed. There's nothing wrong with the game. They got these nice cabins. The outside is good. The maps are good. There's nothing wrong with their maps. Like, I don't know. I feel like that they would have been on top of this shit after the game came out, and it just feels like a year has gone by, you guys. A year has gone by. DBD fixed their game in a year. They finally got on the board with it and fucking fixed their shit. This game's still rolling in the background. I mean, they probably made a lot of money off of it, but they can still make money off of it. It's just they need to, I don't know. They're probably doing all they can. I don't know if they are. I know it kind of looks like they're not because it's been kind of quiet and it's been a bit. It's been a long time and we've been dealing with all these weird bugs, situations, and all these weird gameplay mechanics that just, they kind of detract from the experience. Hopefully, I'm hoping everything gets back on track. It can. I know it can. The game is not bad. They got a lot of shit in the game to set up really nicely. The game will be fixed when Half-Life 3 comes out. Oh god. Nah, they can do it, you guys. I mean, even if they give up on it, if you guys are giving up on the game, at least hand it off. Hand it off to somebody that's gonna fix it. That's what I say. I mean, don't be embarrassed about it. Let the fans get a nice product. I'm all about this game being great. I don't care, I care about the team, and I care about the people, but also I care about this project. You guys, I don't want to see it go down the fucking hole, you know what I'm saying? It's been how many years since the Nintendo game come out? We've talked about this during the beta, right? That this game was a nice chance for filmmakers, other game developers, to see that a horror-based game could actually work, and that maybe AAA developers would notice it and strike deals with other fucking franchises. Nightmare on Elm Street. If the game does really successful and thousands of fucking people are playing it constantly, and it's up there with DVD and the rest of the games, then you're gonna see more of this shit. But if it goes down the tube, you guys, like this, I think this will be it for Friday the 13th in the gaming industry. Like, that's not good. At least for our lifetime, we're never gonna see it again. NES F13 came out in 1989, so it's been a nice number of years. So, and But let's close it off there, you guys. I don't want to ramble too much. I'll go through and I'll also reply to you guys. And I know I've missed a lot of people's stuff that you're talking about, but I'll go through and read it again. And I like to take what you guys say in the chat and bring it up for the next virtual cabin discussion. I'll try to have these more often because I do miss doing them. I did like what someone suggested in Discord when if someone uses an emote next to Jason, he should be able to perform an extra kill on it. Well, his rage should go up really quick. An extra kill. Oh, well, that's too much, though. Like, if somebody emotes to you and a kill prompt pops up, that wouldn't work so well, though, because people then they're just going to adjust to that, Gorgonfugel. They're just going to, you got to think of things that people can't adjust to, at least. Okay. Here, let me restart this track one more time. You got to kind of think of things, because think about it. If you just make a kill animation for Jason when people emote, what are people going to do? They're just going to emote at a distance from you. They're going to be standing over there by that tree, emote to you, and you go get them. They're going to run away before you even get close enough to press that fucking emote button or kill button. So you got to think of things that people can't adjust to, and they will. I mean, the mechanics, if they do change some of the things or adjust things around, people will adjust to it. But if they're done correctly, it's still going to be difficult. You know, like Jason's rage going up super fucking quickly. Yeah, people are going to try to adjust to it, but it's going to be very, very awkward. It's you know, they're not going to have a good time trying it. They're going to try to troll, but it's not going to be effective. Yeah, I think I was like 7 or 8. I think I was 7 years old. 7 years old when, 6 or 7 when Friday the 13th came out on Nintendo. But yeah, you guys, we had a nice discussion in here. I think we covered a lot of what is disrupting Jason's character integrity and the things that kind of could be fixed to fix that problem. I'm hoping that once after this update releases and the single player I think the single player challenges are going to be awesome, hopefully. Like, they seem like they're going to be fun. Like the first one, yeah, it was simple. There was only 2 people. But what if, you know, once they have these larger areas set up and the counselors, I mean, they've been working on it and they delayed it. So at least they're trying really hard to get that done. Once they're done with the single player challenges in this new update, I think that the devs are going to open up to a lot more free time, and they'll be able to, once again, as if the beta re-released, once again they're going to be able to concentrate on all this stuff. I'm going to try to set my voice out there as much as I can, like we used to. When this new update releases, we're going to have way more of these cabin talks. And hopefully the devs are listening, because, you know, you guys, they're going to see, they can come back here and see the chat now. On YouTube, they couldn't see the chat. I had to put the chat on the screen so they could read what you guys were saying as well when they went back and watched the VOD, whatever. So now they'll be able to come back in here. I'll link it on the YouTube video for people to come back and look at what you guys are saying in the chat as well. And I'm still passionate over the game, you guys. I'm still passionate over the game, so I hope it gets back on track. I'm going to cut it off here, you guys. Somebody in the background is having a great time. I am a young pup. I am only 35. I'm still a young pup, you guys. Some of you are really young pup. Some of you are like 15 and 16. That's basically, essentially, you haven't been born yet. But yeah, all right, let me get out of here, you guys. We're gonna play some fucking good music. Thank you guys for popping in here and having this discussion. We're gonna be having it more. We're gonna be having them a lot more, I bet. A lot of people are like, Laphin quit. Some people think Laphin quit. Oh, he just did it for the views. No, I was just kind of sick of the way the game's direction went, you guys. And I couldn't talk about it anymore. But now that the new update, I'm back on board again. I want to see the game do well, goddammit.
Adrenaline pumping without the terror, good people.
All right, you guys. Take care.
I love this town.
And bye-bye.